May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be always acceptable unto you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Please be seated. So you have to understand, to begin with, Jesus was dead. You might remember a skit from Monty Python. Or am I the only one who ever watched Monty Python? Do you remember the skit called the Dead Parrot skit? It's in a shop, a pet shop, and the man comes in carrying a dead parrot in a cage. And he says he wants to make a complaint that he just bought this parrot and it's dead. And the shopkeeper says, "It's not dead, he's sleeping." The man says, "He's not sleeping, he's dead." No, he's pining for the fjords. This is the Norwegian blue parrot. He's not pining, he's passed on. This parrot is no more. He has ceased to be. He's expired and gone to meet his maker. He's a stiff, bereft of life, he rests in peace. He's kicked the bucket, he's shuffled off his mortal coil, rung down the curtain and joined the bleeding choir invisible. The gospel according to Mark, has made it very clear to us that Jesus, like the parrot in the skit, is no more. He died. His body was taken down from the cross and put in a stone tomb. Now, the practice of the Jews at this time was that when someone died, their body was anointed and wrapped in cloth and put in a stone tomb for several years, and then eventually the bones were reinterred in a stone sarcophagus. So Jesus' body has been put in the tomb, and a very large rock has been put over the mouth of the tomb. But he wasn't anointed. And so some of the ladies, some of the women who are his followers and disciples have gone and bought anointing spices and are going to anoint his dead body. And they're wondering, how are we going to get that very large rock off the mouth of the tomb? And then when they get to the tomb, they are surprised to see that the rock has already been rolled away. And they are further surprised when they go in the tomb that Jesus' body isn't there. And instead, there is a young man dressed in white, we are told, which I believe we are to understand is a messenger of God, an angel. And he says, he's not here, he's risen. He will go ahead of you to Galilee, and you will see him there. Each of the Gospels has a somewhat different story of the resurrection. In this one, the women go away and they don't say anything to anyone because they're afraid. Now I wonder, what might they be afraid of? Well, maybe they're afraid of people laughing at them and telling them that they're crazy. Maybe they're afraid that this resurrection is the beginning of the apocalypse, the beginning of the end times, a fearsome time that God will come in judgment. We know eventually They must have told someone, or we wouldn't have the story in Mark. But I want us to pause and consider for a minute what it means to celebrate not the visible resurrection, but the hidden resurrection, the secret resurrection. Because we are called to live in the resurrection. And often, the resurrections that we see, that we are called to live in, are the quiet ones, the secret ones. The ones maybe we take for granted. Consider the miracle of broken bones reknitting themselves. Is that not a form of resurrection? One that we take for granted. One that we don't see. We just experience the effects that we were unable to walk, and now we can walk. Consider the resurrection that we see out in the garden. A couple months ago, we planted what looked like dead sticks, about this high, brown. You go out there, you'll see little leaves on those dead sticks. Again, a miracle of resurrection, one that we take for granted. And some resurrections are best fostered in secret. Consider the resurrection of a life after someone that you love has died and you are mourning, and you decide in your heart to live, to make a new life apart from this person with whom you were so twined together for so many years. That's living into the resurrection. That's believing in the power of God and of God's love to allow you to live and love again. Some consider a young person deciding to take the risk of bringing a new life into the world and hiding that secret of that pregnancy because they're afraid of losing it until they choose that the moment of danger has passed and that they can no longer hide this little new life from the world. How are hidden resurrections part of your life? How do you live into the resurrection? How do you live into the belief that in the face of death, in the face of pain, in the face of risk, in the face of cruelty, that it is worth taking the risk of love, putting the bet of your life on love and God's power of growth and healing and new love. That's what we celebrate this Easter. Not just the visible resurrection, the historic resurrection of Jesus, but the living in the resurrection, the living into God's love and the faith in the resurrection in each one of your lives. Alleluia.